So this is our last slides, and it's just one slide really. It's just the Outbrief questions for y'all. So first of all, can you just give us some feedback about the university's response to the coronavirus? Just your perception as outsiders. You've probably got kids in school of your own. You may have kids in college of your own that are dealing with their own kind of displacements. You may have high school, middle school, elementary school kids. So you know that it's not just higher ed, but education across the board has been into this distance delivery mode. So anything, not only, I think I'm more concerned about how we're doing relative to how industry does things, because we visualize ourselves as trying to train people for industry. So I have a feeling this is a case where it's quite different than industry. Anything we missed, any blind spots in our response, anything we've done, overkill, things we don't think we had to do. Just any feedback about the response would be appreciated. Then the crystal ball part. What do you think this is going to do in your own industries regarding hiring, projects, etc.? Is it going to change how internships happen? I know some people are doing internships for students at home over the summer and the like. Any in a sense of what's going to happen in the future because of this? Anything you know from what's happening in your own industries, things you're hearing? More traditional kind of questions about reduced offerings. I mentioned we have the 10 different flavors, even though there's only 4 different undergraduate programs. And I think the general sense within the faculty is we'd like to get rid of those and reduce it down to just the programs, maybe with a hole in there where students can still take the minor. So if they're in computer engineering, they want cybersecurity, it'll be easier, in fact, in some ways for them to do that. There should be a big enough hole in each of the programs to allow for a minor or something like that. Any of the existing programs, undergraduate or graduate, that you see that maybe we shouldn't focus our energy on. New programs. One of the areas there's now an accredited. You can get accredited the cybersecurity engineering program through ABET as an engineering program, or just the Bachelor's of Science in Cybersecurity as a computing program. And they have different requirements, certain differences between what you have to do for each. Is there enough demand to justify a cybersecurity engineering program? And is the branding cybersecurity engineering enough of an increment over cybersecurity to make a difference? Do you have any insight into how that would be perceived and what value you would see in graduates bringing to your industries? Another program I forgot to mention there is a possible master's degree in computer science. Just because we're a EE and CS program, but we don't have a master's degree in computer science. So is that justified? Can we do that? Lastly is capstone. I know you didn't get a real good sense of capstone this year, and things with going online didn't quite work out the way we'd expected. I hope you got some sense of what's going on in capstone from the video. Presuming I'm able to get the videos online. I'm recording this before the videos are actually there. So, but part of our current conversations on capstone, and you may pick this up as you talk with faculty, it has to do with sort of an initial distinction between hardware and software. Is there are there different expectations for hardware students and software students, particularly regarding things like requirements and documentation, the degree of a working product when the project is done, just where are the expectations there for a capstone experience? And then even again within hardware, there's a difference between EE and computer engineering. How do you emphasize that? There's a difference between computer science and software engineering. How do you tailor those? And then is there a value? And then should we continue doing this in a cross-disciplinary format, which is the way we've been doing it? And then, is there enough value in a multi-site experience? Like, should we do this with our colleagues at Prescott, which our university leadership would like us to do, but it's hard to get students to buy into the value of this. So is there value from your perception of having a multi-site experience if capstone were something joint between us and Prescott, or us and some other university even, or us and industry at a distant site? So is there maybe a way to leverage some of this distance stuff we're doing now to facilitate a more distantly delivered capstone experience with students working, with students around the world, or at least in other locations. So those are sort of the questions I have. You may get some other questions from faculty as you meet with them today. So thank you for considering this, and looking forward again to seeing you in the meeting on Zoom today or later tomorrow, or later today, whenever it is in your time zone.